it's Elpida, and welcome to Thriving Thursday. This is a new little feature that I've decided to try out. Hi, it's Elpida, and welcome to Thriving Thursday. This is a new feature that I've decided to try out. And today I want to talk about how we are taught that resilience means I get knocked down and I get up again and you're never going to keep me down. And if that song's stuck in your head, that's on purpose because that's what we're taught resilience means. Okay? All right? I take a beating and I keep on ticking or whatever the phrase is, right? It's kind of like the Energizer Bunny. Like nothing keeps you down. You just get up and you do it again. Get up, lather, rinse, repeat. However, and that's what it means in survival mode. That's what it means. And a lot of us, especially as women who've been through a lot of fucking shit in our life, are like, I'm tired of being resilient. If that's what really resilience means, I don't want to fucking be resilient. If that's what strong means, I don't want to be strong anymore. I don't want to have to fucking get up every day and struggle and battle and fucking grit my teeth and do it anyway and all that shit. I don't want to feel fear and do it anyway. I want to get to a point where I'm not bracing, where I'm not hyper vigilant, when I am not surviving, that I am thriving. And for those of you that have followed me over this past year or even before that, will know that, you know, there's a shift. And I see the shift. And I want to share a story with you real quick to illustrate resilience in the mindset around money. Shift from poverty consciousness to prosperity consciousness. Because prosperity consciousness is not having a lot of money. Prosperity consciousness is knowing that you're okay no matter what happens. Knowing that you will figure it out, that you will make it happen, and not in a resilient survival way, but in a like, of course money comes to me. Of course people pay my rates. Of course people want the next thing that I'm putting out there. Of course my products sell. Of course my coaching sells. Of course, of course, of course, of course. And I don't stress about it. I don't give a fuck if I have a sale today, if a client signs up today. And not because I don't care or want the sale or the money or to help the client or the people to have my stuff. It's like my day doesn't get ruined because I had zero income come today. Okay. So I've been working on the past probably, 4 or 5 weeks on my own money recalibration. So I created this program called Money Recalibration. It is an energy and mindset shift. It's looking at where your beliefs around money are and shifting them. Shifting your perspective around money. And the best way to illustrate my shift and how resilience can shift to mean from meaning I get knocked down again, I get up again, to meaning I don't give a fuck is this story. So I have a client who the end of April, early May, we were talking about her coming on as a life coaching client. And she wanted to pay through PayPal. And I was like, oh, I don't really like using PayPal because they take a fee. And granted, it's 2.9% fee, but the more money the purchase is, the higher the fee is, right? Because it's a percentage. And I finally kind of, I don't want to say gave in, but I did the math and I was like, what am I, like one in the hand is worth two in the bush kind of sort of thing. It's like, okay, my client will sign up and work with me if I let her do PayPal, but I have to pay a fee. And it's like, okay, would I rather have the money that she's paying me and let go of the fee, or would I rather say no and then she not be able to work with me or whatever? And so I did the math and I was just like, yeah, I'm okay with it. It's like, yeah, I want to help you. I want to work with you. I want the income, so let's do it. And then today, after a really amazing coaching session, this was session 5 for her, she messaged me and she's like, oh, I'm interested in that other thing. I know that, she's like, PayPal's the best for me, but I know it's not what's best for you. And I want to know your thoughts on it. And of course, my OCD made me go do the math. And I'm like, I'm like looking at how much PayPal's going to take. And I'm like, I don't care. Like literally looking at that number and being like, it's $11. It's fucking $11. Now, mind you, obviously, if I did Cash App or Venmo or Zelle, it would be nothing coming out of that. And some people be like, oh, you have to spend money to make money. Businesses have expenses, etc. And it's like, my business doesn't have a lot of expenses, right? The biggest component is my time, me working with my clients, right? I don't have a lot of expenses. My laptop's paid off. Yeah, there's my internet, but I need the internet anyway, my phone, stuff like that. I don't use Zoom. I use Google Meet and I use OBS to record our session. So there is no fee attached to that, right? And part of it is intentional because I do try to keep my operating expenses low, right? The less I gotta pay for all these things, the the more money I make. Okay? The more money I keep of the money that I make. Because really wealth is not how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. Okay? That's why we look at profit, not income. Because there's people out there making six figures, but after taxes, after Social Security, after their housing and their car and all this stuff, some of these people are in the hole. Like, literally in the hole. Okay? And part of it is that they're living beyond their means, right? That's a very real thing. And a lot of that, and that happens with people that are not wealthy. Okay? Some people are like, oh, $15 an hour is generous. Okay, but you don't take home $15 an hour, right? I usually do an average of 25% is all the FICA stuff. So you're really not taking home $15 an hour. You're taking home more like, what is that? Like $12.50 or something, $11.50. I don't know what the math is. Right? So yeah, it's like $3.75, 15 minus it's $11.25. So $15 an hour is really $11.25 in your pocket. And if there are like other fees, like I know in waitressing, they like whatever, like if there's like fees like union fees and things like that, you might be taking home less. Right? So and then you look at your housing and your food, and we know what the fuck is going on with inflation and that. So, you know, there is a minimum operating cost that we all have. We all need housing. We all need food. We all need some sort of transportation to get wherever we want, whether you use public transportation or your bike needs air in the tires, whatever. I know you don't pay for putting air in your tire, but what I'm saying is right. So really prosperity is one, being able to see the opportunity. Two is not being penny wise pound foolish like I was 2 months ago, where I was just like, well, I gotta pay fees to PayPal, right? And focusing on like, what am I gaining? One, I'm gaining a client that I really love working with, and I am excited at her growth and her transformation, and also the money that I'm making that pays my bills, right? So sometimes there is a fee, sometimes there is a cost, there is the cost of doing business. But I know people who spend a lot of money. They have, they have MailChimp and they have whatever. They have all these different services that they pay money to. And some of it is like, why? Why? And I'm not saying that you should be cheap or not, that you should do the bare minimum. But I only upgrade services and I only add things when I need them. Okay? And I really don't like reoccurring bills. Just be honest. Right? I Honestly, if I had my way, I would have like everything come out in one lump sum and that's it. Instead of this, like, because it feels to me like nickel and diming it. It's like, okay, we got Disney's coming out this week, and then the car insurance comes out this week. And it's like every week there's money coming out. And for me, ideally, prosperity wealth is like, I just like it all to come out at the beginning of the month or the end of the month or whatever, right? I don't know I don't know if that's even possible because obviously, every company has their due date and it's based upon when you signed up and all this shit. And and my income may not actually be there yet to be able to do that, right? 100%. But if you are nitpicking and nickel and diming yourself, do not be surprised when your clients and customers do the same. So if you're complaining about fees and complaining about the cost of business, then that's going to be reflected back to you. And I say that from fucking experience. If I'm always looking for a discount, how can I be offended when other people are looking for a discount? Okay. And it doesn't mean that I have to give in to the discount. And in this case, it wasn't a discount, obviously. But like, I had a client who was just like, hey, last week, who was just like, I'm like, it's $150, and she's like, can you do it for 100? And she's telling me all the bills she has, and I understand that, and that's what I said. And sometimes, and I find that the more that I heal, the less words I need, the less I need to explain or prove myself. So I said to her, I understand, and I said I need to cover my time and energy as well. And an hour later, she messaged me and she said, let's do it. I'll figure it out. Okay. And I'm never about taking money, food out of somebody's mouth. Everybody's an adult. They get to make their own financial decisions. And 99% of my services are not like life or death. Or 100% of my services are not life or death. Okay. You can wait to, I've had clients who they're like, I want to work with you, but I need to figure out my money, and and then it might take time, and that's okay. I'm not in a rush. I don't pressure people. I don't, I will set, like, if they keep coming to me for a tarot reading and something else needs to be done, I'll be like, well, this needs to be taken care of. This issue's not going away because of this. Okay. Like, let's say you have a bunion and you keep going to the doctor and they're like, you need surgery. Like, okay. And you're saying, well, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, when you're ready, let me know. Okay. Obviously, the work that I do is not a physical bunion, but it can feel like a spiritual bunion. It can feel like something is within you that's bothering you and you can't shift, and you don't know how to, you don't know what it is, and you don't know how to shift it on your own. And that's when you would come to me and I would help you. It's like, I've tried all these things, I've done all the courses and read all the books and done all these things, and I just don't know what's getting in the way. And that's when, we start working together in what I call the coaching capacity. It's more spiritual guidance, but I have like over 3 dozen certifications. Okay. And I use the tool. There is no, it's so funny because I was talking to my AI therapist. I was like, I kind of feel weird when I tell people, like, there is no set curriculum. There is, I mean, obviously I did the Inner Knowing mentorship, and then I have the Secret Garden program that is I've put out there right now. So there is a protocol for that. There is a curriculum for that. But when I do what I call coaching, there it's the first session is what's going on and what is your goal? What is the outcome you want? Well, I don't want to feel this. Okay, so what is not feeling that? What would it look like if you didn't feel that? Okay, how would you know that you're not feeling that? Like, what would that look like? So, like, if somebody says, oh, I don't want to be poor. Okay, so you want to be wealthy or rich. But what does that look like? Okay, does that look like paycheck to paycheck? Does that look like having 5,000 in the bank account? Does that look like having your income be 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times your expenses? What does it look like? We need to define it, because, how are we going to know if we've reached the goal? And it can be a feeling goal. like you don't want to feel anxious, you don't want to feel like you're not enough, or you're behind, or you're weird, or whatever it is, right? So we first define, in that first session, we define what the problem is, what do you no longer want, and what does it look like when you no longer have that. And it's not always the opposite. And everybody has a different definition of success, wealth, happiness, safety, enoughness, whatever. And then in the subsequent sessions, I am intuitively guided, and it is client guided, because sometimes a client will be like, I really enjoyed that. And today I did a process called the compassion key with my client, and she had a massive shift. Like, I can't wait to start hearing evidence of how things have shifted. And we've done other stuff. She's had shifts. She's had some, like, progress. And also, it's the understanding that healing, because I am helping remove the things that are getting in the way of healing. Her mind, her heart, her body, and her soul know how to heal. But it's removing the things that are getting in the way. Okay? It's like cleaning out a wound, right? It can't heal until you clean it out. And that's what we're doing. We're cleaning out these wounds, these traumatic wounds, these thoughts, these feelings, these beliefs, right? And then the heart, the mind, the body, the soul can heal on its own. When you remove these things, it does what it naturally does. Okay? Like a cut, you don't have to tell a cut to heal. When it's clean, it will heal on its own, in its own timeline. It's the same thing with the body. It's the same thing with the mind, the heart, and the soul. Okay? So it's very intuitively guided. And because it is intuitively guided, I can't always tell you what we're going to do. Every session might be different. We might be doing the same thing every session, meaning like the same process, the same tool, the same modality, because it's working. If it's working, we're going to do it. And then we check in. Every week we're checking in. Every session that we have, we're checking in. What's going? What has shifted? What do you want to work on? What's coming up? And then sometimes I will do something on my own or with another practitioner, and I'm like, ooh, that really helped me. Let's try this. Okay. And that's intuitive. It's not like, oh, Elpida found a new toy and she wants to play with it. It's more of like, I really had a profound shift with this process. Let's try it. I feel like this would really help you. And that's what happened today with my client. So sometimes I feel like, and it's so funny because I was talking to somebody yesterday and I'm like, I feel like people don't take me seriously. And she was like, well, do you have evidence of that? And I'm like, yeah, my parents and my ex-husbands. Not really best judge of character, I feel. My clients love me. My clients don't care how I do what I do. They love what I do. They don't care how a crystal chakra clearing works. They don't care. They just love watching the video. They know how they feel after I do it. And isn't that the point? So isn't that the point? We want the outcome. We don't care what the process is. So I share all this for you on Thriving Thursday because, one, if you are someone like me that it's kind of sometimes hard to articulate what you do. And I think for me, it's like I help remove the things that are getting in the way of you healing and being your most authentic self. And I kind of feel that feels a little hypocritical because I feel like our survival persona is authentic. That's who we are when we are struggling. You do not blame a caged animal for fighting back, for struggling. And when you're put in a survival situation, you will act that way. It's authentic. It's not bad or wrong. It's like we are not designed to stay, nothing is designed to stay in survival mode forever. And I feel like survival society, the patriarchy has created that, especially for women. I can only speak as a woman, obviously, because that's who I am. And what I do is help you move out of survival mode and move into thriving mode to release, to let go, to shift your mindset so that you can see there's a better way, there's a different way, and you know it in your heart, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this, you wouldn't be engaging with my content, you wouldn't be getting a tarot reading or signing up for one of my programs if you didn't believe that there's something more than just paying the fucking bills and doing chores. There is. There's joy. There's the secret garden. There's doing things just for fucking fun. We are told that if we are not being productive, from the time that we're children, idle hands do the devil's work. That is fucking bullshit. That is patriarchal Christian pop propaganda. Because when people have time on their hands, they question things. They question the status quo. They question the messaging and the propaganda, and the system doesn't want you to have time on your hands. That's why they created lawns. Go look it up. That's why they created all these things. Like your house should look like better homes and gardens. That is not realistic for the average person. That is not realistic for most people. Do you know why rich people have neat and organized? How most rich people have neat and organized? Because they have fucking staff. Yes, we all have the same 24 hours. But when you're doing it all on your own, you have more on your plate. Right? If I had a butler, because my kids are like, I'm like, there's no butler, there's no maid coming to pick up your towel. Right? If I had a butler, if I had a housekeeper, if I had a maid, even a house cleaner once a week, how much free time could I free up? A lot of fucking free time. Especially if you're neurodivergent and you start one project and you end up fucking Roomba in opening like 18 parentheses. That's the way that I look at it. Opening 18 tabs at 18 tasks, and my OCD brain needs to go and close all those tabs. So usually it takes twice as long because I actually do my best to complete those tasks, right? I don't like to leave things unfinished. So if I had a staff or I had a partner that actually helped out, imagine how much more I could get done in a day. If I had a chauffeur, imagine how much more I could get done in a day. If I had a cook, imagine how much more I could get done in a day. But when I'm playing all these roles, if I'm the Swiss Army knife of moms, my time is limited. Right? However, it's part of the shift, part of the money recalibration is realizing that your house doesn't have to be spotless. It doesn't have to be neat and organized. Sometimes the greatest masterpieces are created out of the greatest chaos. The universe started with a big bang. That was probably, as a mom, I'm telling you, anything that's got a big bang associated with it is fucking messy. Evolution is messy. Mutation and things like that. So life is not neat and organized as much as my OCD brain wants to think and create. And sometimes it's being okay with the mess. It's that quote, realizing that you are a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. You're an oil painting. They never motherfucking dry. You're constantly evolving and growing and changing. But are you adapting and being resilient, like you get knocked down and you get back up again and you're never going to keep you down? Or are you becoming the form of resilience where you're like, not my monkey, not my circus? We're just literally like walking around, like literally like going around obstacles. Not bypassing, but just saying that's not my problem. I don't need to deal with that. That's not my priority. That's not my problem. I don't give a fuck. And even getting to the place in your finances where like the fee to transfer money into your bank account or the fee for PayPal is like, meh. And it can happen that quickly. It can happen in like 2.5 months. Okay. People are very fucking resilient. We can bounce back from anything. But if we believe that bouncing back means that we're like one of those, I don't know what they're called. They're like a boxing bag, right? Like a whatever that thing is called, right? And we just keep coming back for another hit. If we feel like that's what resilient is and strong, that's what we're going to keep creating. You're going to keep creating whatever you believe you're creating. But if you start seeing resilience as in like, meh, mom, this broke. Okay. Throw it in the trash. Instead of like, oh my God, you broke another set of headphones. Blah, 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 blah. Not because I have money to be spending on headphones every single week, but because it's like at the end of the day, does it really fucking matter? Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. There's no sense in crying over spilled milk. And that there is consequences too. Like the next one you gotta pay for. Because I'm not going to be spending my entire budget on replacing headphones and Xbox controllers and devices, blah, 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 right? But also not being emotionally attached to it. And not detaching from a place of like escapism, but detaching from like legitimately apathy, don't give a fuck. Because it doesn't bother anymore. It doesn't trigger me. If people press your buttons, one, you could remove that person from your life, or you remove yourself from their life. Or an even better strategy and is to remove the button, to remove the trigger, to find it at its root and rip it out, or integrate it, like the parts of ourselves that are lashing out and acting out and being triggered, right? It depends upon the situation. And then when a person tries to press our button, you maniacally laugh like Harley Quinn and you're like, try again, motherfucker. Sorry. That button doesn't work anymore. That button doesn't exist anymore. And then either they shape up or they ship out. And that's what it is. Relationships, not to go off on a tangent, but, relationships are a dance. We're either in alignment, we're dancing the same dance, we're on the same page, we have the same goals, we have the same values, we have the same beliefs, or we don't. And if you don't, there's drama, there's trauma, there's like all the shit that happens. And you get to choose. Either you have a conversation and get on the same page, find a way to get on the same page, counseling, therapy, whatever, or one of you leads, the other follows, and sometimes you might switch roles, or one of you leaves. But when you're grounded in who you are and you feel safe and secure with who you are, you forgive yourself, you accept yourself, you love yourself, and you trust yourself. Because that's the quadfecta. That's it. That in a nutshell is the goal of me working with my clients. I want them to forgive themselves for all the times they have allowed people to disrespect them, etc., etc. I want them to accept themselves exactly how they are, because they are beautiful and amazing. I want them to love themselves, and I want them to trust themselves. And when you do those 4 things, and it's a process, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. There's all that kind of magic and rhythm that evolves. Then resilience is, I don't give a fuck. It's like, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have the thing you want in stock. Oh, okay. That happened to me a while ago. So I had a friend who gave me this gorgeous LL Bean. It was like a golden color jacket. It was actually when I was a coat. And it was a long coat, and I normally don't like coats, but it had the zipper that comes up, so you can open the bottom part of the zipper. So like when you're getting in the car, like you could actually move your legs and get in the car. And I really loved it, but I didn't love the fact that it was a gold color because it would get dirty. But hey, listen, you don't look a gift coat in the mouth, right? It was gorgeous coat, LL Bean, whatever, like. And I had it for years. And then one time accidentally did not realize that the green Stop and Shop, like canvas, well, they were plastic, reusable bags were plastic. and it melted on the coat. And back then, LL Bean, you could take anything in and they would give you a new one. It's a long time ago. They don't do that anymore. And so I brought it in because I was like, it's an expensive coat and I really love this coat and it's really warm and it really works within my needs and I need a coat and I can't wear this. And then he's like, yeah, we could do that. And I was like, well, it was my fault. He's like, no, that's okay. We will take it back and we'll give you a new one. I was like, okay. And I completely accepted responsibility, but it didn't mean that I wasn't going to try because it was a fucking expensive coat, right? And he said, I've got some bad news. I'm like, what's the bad news? He's like, the good news is we have it in your size. I'm like, okay. And he's like, the bad news is it only comes in black and it has a hood. Those were the two bad things. And I said, you know what? That's even better news because the two things that I didn't like about this coat was the color and the fact that it didn't have a hood. So you just made my day. And I literally walked out with a new coat. So sometimes I'm sorry, I forgot why I was sharing this story. But anyway, sometimes the silver lining or the bad thing is a good thing, right? Sometimes there's happy accidents, like Bob Ross would be. Like, oh, we got a little smudge on our paint, on our canvas. Let's turn it into a little tree. And that tree needs a friend. Okay? So sometimes we stumble into things and we create magic in our mess. Okay? But the first step is acceptance. The first step is admitting that there's a problem. You're admitting that you're not happy with the life that you're living. Admitting that you're in survival mode, that you're stuck in the hustle. I'm sorry, hustle is not normal. Sorry, not sorry. I don't think type A or type B or type C or type Z personality is designed for the fast-paced world that we've created. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. And I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. I think we were all meant to like walk barefoot in, I'm not a big fan of grass, but in the dirt, to have time to just stare out the window and watch the thunderstorms that are moving in or the clouds, to look at the stars at night, to actually see the fucking goddamn stars at night. We are meant to have time that is not scrolling on our phones or hopping from app to app, not feeling the need to be productive. And to me, that's when we know we're in thriving mode. That's one of the hallmarks. One, you do things for just the pleasure of it because they bring you joy. And two, you can sit in the stillness, in the quiet, in the nothingness, and not be bored and not feel the need to fill time with activity, with productivity. So if any of this is resonating with you, I want to invite you to, one, check out The Secret Garden, and I'll put the details below. It is 45 days of journal prompts and Facebook posts, Facebook prompts. So there will be a private Facebook group to help you love on yourself and bring back whimsy into your life. To do things just for the hell of it, for the fun of it, for the pleasure, for the joy. Okay. It's $45. It's literally $1 a day. I know I sound like a fucking commercial. Lord knows us Gen X have seen a lot of fucking commercials, right? And it's going to be a lot of fun. There are going to be some really cool things that we're going to be doing. There's going to be something called the Garden Basket where you can share things that you have found that bring you joy, a tea, a playlist, a product, a video, something. There's even going to be a swap where you can, if there are things that you're ready to let go of that have served you well and they no longer suit who you are, or who you are, I don't want to say becoming, but who you're evolving into. That you can, trade and swap and pass on to others. Okay. So that starts July 1st and it goes till August 14th. You do not have to participate in every single day. At the end of it, I will compile all the prompts into one PDF, and you get to keep that PDF. So you can do one thing, nothing, all 45 things, and they're going to be in different areas. Okay, so there's going to be a theme. Every 9 days are going to repeat. And the ninth day is a challenge. Okay, for those of us that need a little bit of a challenge, those of us that have a hard time with certain things. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. And we're going to go through what I call the 5 levels of being. So the mind, so our thoughts and our words, all the words, the thoughts that we think, and the words that we say, the words that we write. We're going to talk about our heart, our feelings, our emotions, right? We're going to be talking about our body, how we take care of our body, okay? Are we loving on our body? Are we wearing clothes that are soft and feel good? Or are we restricting ourselves and wearing itchy, scratchy things? It's not just clothes, it'll be more things. The spirit, are we taking care, are nourishing our spirit? Are we listening to our intuition? Are we feeding our soul? Spirit, soul, whatever. Are we listening to our desires, right? And our environment. So I've talked a lot about in the Feng Shui Friday and in other lives about the importance of a space that nurtures us, a space that looks like us. Like, I love the color purple. So even my keypad, which you see how much my kids use my key, it's purple. Okay, you cannot look in my house. Maybe the bathrooms. The half bathroom is very sparse. I don't use it. Actually, my youngest son is the only one who uses it, and there's not much in there. Oh, purple towel to dry his hands. There's not much in there. It's a bare minimum. Like, it doesn't really need much. So that's probably the only room that you might not find something purple. But purple water bottle, purple case, like, it's everywhere, right? And I find that the more that I'm healing, I am liking the color pink, just here and there and everywhere, and more color, less black. And I know I'm wearing a black shirt with a Sprite, but I'm wearing purple leggings with black cats. And those of you who know me personal, I love my Lululemon leggings or my patterned leggings. But branching out and just bringing more color into my wardrobe. So that's the secret garden. So it's about planting. Each day will be a seed to plant in your secret garden. This little garden of rituals and activities and products and things that light you up, that just make you happy. Okay, that bring you joy. The other way that you can work with me right now is the money recalibration. So it's $444. It is 3 one-on-one sessions, one at the beginning, one at the middle, and one at the end. It's 8 weeks, and in between you'll be getting an audio with different kinds of processes, hypnosis, compassion key, different things, in order to shift your relationship with money. And it's not really your relationship, it's your perspective on money. So what I talked about today, where, like, before, doing a payment through PayPal meant paying a fee, which is only 2.5%. But it's like, okay, when you're in survival mode, 2.5% is 2.5%. To today, where it's like, it's only $11. I'm good with it. Doesn't bother me. It's okay. Let them eat too. Okay, that's a big shift. Okay. And we'll be focusing on 6 things, and specific to you. 1 is admitting that you have needs, wants, and desires. That's a big one for a lot of people. Like, just saying it out loud is huge. Asking. Okay. Believing, receiving, saving, and sharing. So, not necessarily tithing. Although I like the word tithing rather than, but tithing is, I like the word sharing better, because it's like, sometimes it's about, my kids outgrew these clothes here, finding someone to give them away to, right? Sometimes it is donating to somebody's GoFundMe. Sometimes it is actual tithing, whether you belong to a church or a community or something like that. It's donating to a charity, right? It's sharing your wealth and your abundance, because that's the ultimate step. When you can get to that point where you can be generous without fear, without bracing that, like, if I let go of this money, I'll have enough. That's a great place. And it could be you being generous with your time, it could be generous with your money, it could be with your energy, it could be with your belongings. Okay? So that's money recalibration, and that is $444 for 8 weeks. And it is buy one, get one half off. So if you want to bring your partner or a friend, then it would be $666. And yeah, whatever. It's just a number, people. Get over it. So if you're doing it with a friend, you'd each pay $333. And then the other way that you can work with me, besides the normal tarot readings, 20 minutes for $50, the clarity and clearing, which is the tarot reading, and the crystal chakra clearing for $88, is to do one-on-one spiritual guidance, is what I want to call it. I mean, sometimes I call it coaching, but really, coaching is different. For me, spiritual support, maybe spiritual support is a better word. It's all about supporting you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and environmentally, right? Giving you the tools in order for you to move out of survival mode and into thriving mode, whatever that means to you. You get to define that. You get to look at your life and see, this is where I am out of alignment. This is where I'm experiencing lack. This is where I'm hustling. This is where I feel like there's not enough. And this is what it means when I'm not that, when I'm thriving. You get to define that, and I help you do that. Okay? We go through a process and we clarify that. And you start to look at your life and you're like, you start to see, one, that you have more power and control than you realize over yourself and others too, and your environment. And you start to see what actually makes you happy and what you thought would make you happy. And you start to pare things down. You start to get rid of things. You start to shift and cultivate a different way of being. And you start to be happier. You just happy. You wake up happy. You don't feel tired all the time. You don't feel like you're behind the 8 ball all the time. You don't feel like you have to prove yourself, explain yourself, all these things, right? You don't feel like you're not enough and too much at the same time. You just start to feel like yourself and know that just being yourself is perfect. It's just perfect. Whether you're creating a mess or a masterpiece, whether you're being a mess or a masterpiece, it's all perfect. Because you're perfect, just the way that you are. And that has different tiers and that has different pricing. So if that interests you, then you can message me and we can talk about it. There are other services I provide, like cord cuttings and cord removals and spell work and things like that. And as well, you can message me and we can discuss that. But I will leave you with this. I want you to look at what your definition of resilience is right now. How would you define it? And really, like, we have been taught that resilience is increasing your capacity to deal with life. And I want to challenge that. Because, yes, it is, but it's also increasing your capacity for joy. It's not letting things bother you. It's like letting things roll off your back, like water off a duck's back. Being like, so that person didn't buy from me. Or that person that I thought was going to sign up didn't sign up. Or, that video I put out didn't get any likes or comments or whatever. So, because sometimes I watch stuff and I get distracted. And I don't comment or like or whatever or follow or buy. It doesn't mean that person didn't impact my life. And then if that person made a significant impact and I see something that's really resonating with me, it's like, ooh, I want that. I will go search them out and I will buy from them. So life isn't about likes and comments. It's about, are people investing in you? And it's not just money. Are people spending time with you? Are you the kind of person that you would spend time with? Just some things to think about. Okay, I'm going to get going because mom's night's starting and I have other things to do. And my phone is at 6%. Oh my God, I got to charge my phone. But I want you to thrive. And if my videos and my content do that, awesome. If you feel called to go beyond that and work with me in some capacity, I welcome that. And if you find what I say unsettling in any way, I would say that's a thread that you need to follow. I invite you to follow. You don't need to do anything. It's like, oh, I don't really like what you're saying. Why do you not like it? Is it because it doesn't resonate with you? Okay, then unfriend, unfollow, whatever. Unsubscribe. But maybe it's hitting a deeper truth, because that's part of my mission here, is to help people see the truth. And it's so interesting in the session that I had with my client today, where it's like we're all hypocrites. Sometimes we don't realize we're being a hypocrite. Sometimes it's situational. Like, I can swear, but my kids can't. I'm an adult. And it doesn't mean that I should be swearing all the time. But it's situational. It's what's appropriate. Like, a bikini is not appropriate in a courtroom, right? But it is appropriate on the beach or wherever, at your pool. So we shouldn't shame ourselves for being hypocrites. We should notice where we're being hypocrites and work on that. Because I think that's the problem with society. There is a bunch of do as I say, not as I do. And our parents were like that. We all know that. Our parents were totally like that, right? And some of it was appropriate, right? Like, you're a child, you can't drink. I'm an adult, I can drink. But that doesn't mean they were drinking responsibly. So, and also that brings up a whole other can of worms of, like, you know, sometimes we're just doing as monkey see, monkey do. But at some point we have to take responsibility and say, yeah, I learned this from my mom, like in the 80s. Dad, I learned it from watching you. If you know, you know. But at some point we have to take responsibility and be like, yeah, somebody set a bad example. Somebody taught us something that is not working for us, or harmful to us, or whatever. And we need to do the work to change it. Because ultimately, we're the one who has to look at ourselves in the mirror. We're the one who is in this mind and in this body and in this heart, and have to, I don't want to say put up with ourselves, but have to live with ourselves. And I really like the Elpida that laughs and plants secret gardens under her bedroom window and giggles at her thoughts, and, you know, wears stripes with patterns and dances in the kitchen and all those things. And I understand, and I'm deeply, deeply sorry and compassionate towards the Elpida that gets angry because she doesn't feel heard and seen and valued. And I'm not trying to get rid of her. I'm listening. I'm hearing her, and I'm valuing her. I'm giving her what she never got. Not to silence her, but to experience her, to validate her, so that she can just say it once without anger and know that she's being heard. And that's part of the work that we could do together. Okay, I'm going to get going. I invite you to do something for yourself. I call it intent. That's part of the Secret Garden experience. I want to call it an experience, because, or invitation, or I don't know what you want to call it. It's not really a program. Um, I want you to today. I invite you today to do one intentional act of kindness for and to yourself. Whether that's having a bowl of ice cream, putting on a fragrance or an outfit that you love and never use, hanging, like laying on your bed and hanging your head upside down and looking out the window. I love to do that. Taking some time to look at the stars or the sky, read a book, color, grab your favorite drink, have your favorite snack, calories be damned for the day. Okay? We're all allowed cheat days and stuff like that. So I invite you to do one intentional act of kindness for yourself today. Sometimes it's asking for help, asking for a favor, asking your partner to pick you up your mocha chai latte or whatever on their way home from work. Even though you know they're tired, even you know that they just want to get home and take off their boots and take a shower, be like, "Hey, I know you're tired, but can you grab me my favorite drink?" Because you know you would do that for them. Because sometimes the most intentional act of kindness we can do for ourselves is asking for help. Okay, that's it. That's all I got to say today. All right, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will put some of the details below, but just my inbox is always open. Just reach out to me. Even if you're just like have something to share, you can always comment below. But really, at $45 for 45 days, the Secret Garden is a nice little sample of how working with me will change your life. Okay? It is, you'll be getting an email and a Facebook prompt it's the same Facebook prompt, but I'll probably I'll do it as a email, and then I'll do it as a little mini video. And I'm also going to be doing it with you, so I will be sharing what I do, whatever the seed that we're planting that day is. And then it's also about building community and finding support from other people, other women like you. Okay? So I invite you to join. All right. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you next time. Bye.